Hello everyone, Kirby1 here. Welcome back to another one-off thing that I'm probably going to be doing. Full disclaimer, just general sort of channel overview for Kirby's thing is I don't monetize my videos. I don't do this for any of that. I just sort of do it as a hobby for fun. I have a job, I have a wife, I have 2 kids. Okay, by kids I actually mean 2 cats. But my wife and I are in line for the adoption process, so maybe kids in the future, TBD. But in the meantime, I just do this sort of whenever I feel like, very, very infrequently. And this one is a bit special because I actually sort of got this on commission, had a request to do this kind of video. Alright, so what is this? Well, this is going to be a battle overview. Just one battle, just sort of watching it, seeing how it played out, and there'll be a little bit of background as to what the sort of local geopolitical situation is for the game. This is a bit interesting because I was requested to make this by a player in one of the games that I am actively playing, and this battle actually is live. The turn that I have resolved the battle is happening the same day that I'm recording this. So I'm going to sort of overlap a little bit of the sort of details of the turn, obscure it a little bit just because of, security concerns, top secret information, all that stuff. And yeah, the first little background bit that I'm going to cover is the nations involved, myself, the player of the battle, and then also another adjacent player in the area that I'm fighting at the same time, and who is actually the player who requested the video. And to start with, as you can see in the upper right corner, we've got the mods Dominion Enhanced and this one Spark of Divinity mod, which is made by the same maker of Dominion Enhanced, Red Rob, and it's sort of like a extra little tidbit to go on top that specifically massively overtools the pretenders of really all nations, all the pretenders. They have some kind of new and fanciful thing. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my pretender and the pretender of the 2 other nations in the area to sort of give you a feeling for what this kind of thing is. So my pretender is a pretender for Yomi, Rocky 4, and this is what I got. This is my full bless, and everybody who I'm fighting already knows this. Plus there's a couple of other things picked up from the thrones. But one of the things to note is here at the bottom, some of the stuff that you get with the Spark of Divinity mod. Blesses all non-mindless friendly demons and undead, except for just ignore that second part because it doesn't work as intended. This is a sort of beta trial run of this mod. I think one of the first times that this mod has been run in a game. So there's a couple of weirdnesses that are happening that we're ironing out by playing it. So this guy, whenever he's in a battle, my pretender, which is why he's awake, by the way, whenever he's in battle, he blesses all demons, all of them, in the same battle that he's in, which is going to be relevant for this particular battle because all demons, all of Yomi's demons get this bless, as well as the other things that I've picked up from thrones. In addition to that, there's a cap site that allows me to summon more Horseface and Oxhead, which are, I think, like Conjuration 6 summons that you get, but you just sort of start getting them for free at the start of the turn. And then he himself, as well, priests preaching in temples, which I don't really do a whole lot, can summon Amanajaku, which are the sacred Oni, with the double forms, and so they're just sacred by default, and you don't have to stack them with him because they can get blessed on the side. And then he can also summon them with this Summon Allies ability. So that's what I'm running with. I just thought it would be ridiculous to have like 200 Ko-Oni with Blood Vengeance running around. And that's going to come up, so we'll see. Now, the player who I didn't fight in this battle, but who I've been in an active long war with is Lanka, and they have this guy as a pretender. Now, I didn't put in his bless because it's not particularly relevant to the battle, but what is relevant is the pretender ability that he gets. And his ability gives Air Shield 33, which is not particularly relevant to it, but it gets +2 strength, +2 attack, multiplied again for each throne controlled, which means every throne that he owns gives him +2 strength and +2 attack as long as he's alive. And that kind of as long as he's alive bit is a bit relevant in the recent part of the war because there was a timeout battle in which he died because I haven't really found a way to actually kill him head on in a one-off fight because he's ridiculous. But I timed him out by accident. Actually, he timed himself out because he had rigor mortis and sort of killed himself by accident. But he was also twice born at the time, and one of the quirks and the kinks of this mod that we're ironing out and sort of working through testing is that when he's in his twice born form, he's a size 6 Titan white form, but he loses the sort of special bless bit. So now he's got a twice born Titan roaming around, but he's lost this significant part. Now the rest of his bless he's got, which is still a pretty good just general bless for Lanka to have, but he loses this, like I think he was up to like plus 12 or something strength and attack for all of his demons, which for Lanka they're all sacred. Like for Yomi they're not all sacred, so mine's a one-off thing, but for Lanka, all of his are sacred, so he just gets this all the time. But I've sort of been delaying that tactic a little bit. Now, the player I did fight in this particular battle is late age Abysia, actually, because this is a one-age all nations game on a large map, on the Faerun map, which we'll see in a bit. But he's taken this pretender, which is just what you get normally in a DE game. You can pick up this guy, and he's a Dominion 4 guy. But with the Spark of Insanity mod, or Spark of Divinity, I should say. The game is called Spark of Insanity. But with the Spark of Divinity mod, he gets this ability, well, all these abilities, which is he gets to summon Spine Devils automatically summons Spine Devils up to half Dominion candles and 1 devil per month, I believe, in the province that he's in, which would be his cap since he's immobile. He's a Dominion 4 pretender. And he himself can call 2 devils each month. And commanders in a province randomly get a chance per candle to just automatically get for free soul contracts and lifelong protections. Which will also come up in this battle because I thought he was just making them with blood slays, but then I looked this over again and I was like, no, he's just getting them for free. And they do stack the lifelong protections. When you have 2 of them, they summon 4 little imps in total, so they stack. And then if he has any thrones, he gets a chance by candles to get D3 devils in addition to everything else. But he's kind of small right now because I beat him earlier on in a larger war and drove him back to his cap. But as soon as I went in on Lanka, I wasn't able to finish him off because I was too distracted because of Lanka's ridiculous bless. So those are the pretenders, and it's going to be relevant in the game, as you'll see. Let's see, where are we? Spark of Insanity. All right, and here we go. So a couple of things. These are all stuff from Lanka's battle. Lots of air gems have been traded around to fight this war because he has big air, and sadly I do not, but I'm able to make Daitengu. So here we are. Here's the map, and I'm just going to go over here. So as you can see, what I've done is I've sort of turned off the army and movements and everything like that. So you just see the provinces, you see the game state a little bit. You can do that by just pressing question mark and it'll show you all of the options that you have. Another thing, just for the sake of this particular video, I've dumped all my gems that I have and my gold into random places, recruiting ridiculous chaff that I'll reset after I do this video, and just putting gems on my commanders so that nobody needs to know what on this exact turn my game state is. But I don't really care about income. That's whatever. So yeah, this is where the battle took place, in this province of Atar's Looking Glass. And I did win, so it's I've been on a little bit of a victory lap. Okay, I say a little bit. I've been on a big victory lap, and I've been a little loud and obnoxious in the game. But it's all for Diplo. It's all for fun. Alright, so my inane rambling has gone on for probably about half the video, and let's just go ahead and get into the battle here. The battle is here in Atar's Looking Glass, because it's part of the Faerun map. Atar's Looking Glass is a province in the Anarok Desert. A little bit of a trivia from the Forgotten Realms wiki describes this place as a hazardous stretch of the desert, a region composed of what appears to be a flat sea of small, multicolored, polished stones that absorb more heat from the sun than any other surface in the desert. It is so intensely hot that even camels have difficulty traversing its surface without harming the pads of their feet. Any creature that collapses upon Atar's Looking Glass would literally be roasted atop the pebble desert floor, which is very thematic since the battle is between myself and late age Abysia. Going into the battle, we're going to see Abyssia's side here. They are, I guess, the attacker? I actually don't know. Defender, attacker, left side, and right side. But anyways, we both actually moved on top of this province at the same time. I kind of predicted their move based on their previous actions in the game, and turned out that I was right on where they were going to move, which was a throne that I had taken off of Lanka actually earlier on in the war that I'm fighting against them in order to try and cut down on their bless. So as you can see, they've basically just thrown everything that they have left because they don't have a lot of provinces remaining. Let's see if I can find anything. But they do have a lot of these lifelong protections just sort of stacked up on a bunch of their guys. It'll be a lot easier to see once the battle starts and these imps start spawning. Soul contracts here, so he's just getting a bunch of free devils randomly, and as you can see, most of his army is devils. A bunch of them will be on guard commander, but I believe it's about 160 devils, and these are the spine devils that he's also getting for free. Now, because I have a lot of Ko-Oni, he's also decided to summon these gelatinous cubes, and in DE mod, you can also get in a situation where the gelatinous cubes start to coalesce and form into larger forms of themselves. I'm not sure exactly what the state of that is, but in past games it just sort of used to do it automatically. I think right now the way it's doing is you need an alchemist in order to have them coalesce together. You can get them up to size 6, which is kind of ridiculous because they keep the trample swallow bit. So those are a bit scary. But yeah, anyway, so he's thrown pretty much everything that he has in terms of mages and stuff. Earlier on in the fighting, I'd been sitting on his cap and he'd just been sort of accumulating free devils, which he's then decided to bust out with. But his mage core was mostly intact. He'd had a sage province earlier on, and he just moved them all to his cap and hid out there and researched for a bit. And they've just stuck around, and he's got to form up a communion and throw down a bunch of astral spells and things like that. And then he just has whatever he has left, because while I was sitting on his cap with like 200 Ko-Oni, his unrest got up to I think like 200, 300 on his cap, and he had been blood hunting, so it's down to like 11k in his citadel. So he's not going to be recruiting anything there for a long time, even after this and other battles with him. On my side, it's just all free stuff. Well, I say free. Some of the Shikomi are actually free because of a DE spell that you get to cast sort of mid-game in your capital. which starts spawning these for free. And then these tick bogs are actually nature summon demons, which you can summon with a nature earth cross path in a forest, which happens to work out well for me because I liberated late age Pangea's cap from Abysia earlier on in the game, and so I've just been spawning these guys out of there. And they're pretty good, especially because they're demons. They get my bless, and they synchronize well with turmoil, with chaos power, and they have berserking, which is fantastic just in general. These are the Amanajakus that I was talking about earlier. They have the ghost form that they get when they get killed here, and which is very good for them, for Oni specifically, because they, with the Undying Bless that I have here, it procs twice. It procs on their hit points and it procs on their ghost form. And because their ghost form is actually undead, they don't die off the field of battle like a non-undead would with Twiceborn. So very good on them. This is just a bunch of the PD from the fort, and yeah, and then co-oni. So I have like I think 150, 200 of these guys, and they all have the bless. So they all have my bless here, which I've picked up the Throne of, I believe, Thorns, which gives me poison resistance. I've picked up a little bit of a boost on my bless, which is another DE national Yomi spell. Gives them HP and strength, blood vengeance, and awe, and I picked up the Throne of Splendor too, so they actually have awe too. All of them do. So all 200 of these co-oni have that. I have, I think, 5 Dioni. I have a Dai Tengu here with a bunch of air gems. I have an Ivy King here, and he's going to be casting mass regen because I'm at that point in the game. And yeah, so immediately upon him showing up here, he gives everyone that's a demon just this bless. And so, and then also I have this item, which gives start battle anti-magic, which he just carries around with him. And then he's leading most of the co-oni. Whoa, hello. Didn't even notice that. That's probably just because he was moving from low Dominion province. Oops, that's fine. He survives. So they're going to have higher magic resistance. They're going to have chaos power. They're going to have this ridiculous bless with blood vengeance. And we're going to go up against 160 devils. And I'm going to cast a bunch of battlefield magic as well. This guy right here, he is a national Twiceborn spell for fire random Yomi priests, these guys, the demon priests. So yeah, undisciplined, they all run forward. And I also cast at some point, oop, there goes that. What have we got? Heat from Hell, I believe that's from Flame Spirit. So that's from his side because I don't have a Flame Spirit in my fight. But it's fine, I put up fire resistance at some point. Right there. So I'm not concerned about that. And I also put down, I believe this is called Infernal Warriors, something along those lines. It's basically battlefield-wide Fire Shield, another DE spell. So literally everybody has Fire Shield, which is fantastic against these guys with their length 0 weapons. These guys are going to just absolutely melt immediately because he doesn't put up that resist fire for his own guys. Okay, so we've got relief. Oops, something just went down. Relief from my guy, Ivy King, which I guess doubles even the me not caring about fatigue from Heat from Hell, and then also Light of the Northern Star for his side. And I believe we've got mass regen up at this point. Yes, so mass regen is up as well. So as you can see, my little massive horde of these guys, because they're size 1, they have 2 to a square, so that's fantastic. I've also given everyone pierce resistance with Skeletal Legion, so everybody has that. On his side, I don't think he has teched up to a lot of battlefield magic. He's been kind of turtling in a small space of what he has left. Let's see if I can find. So he just does fire clouds. Let's see if I can find anyone. I haven't really been paying attention to what kind of spells he's been casting, to be honest. Some luck there somewhere. Okay, there's a Bloodlust. Yeah, so he has Bloodlust, which I don't think I managed to put down. Now, normally I could put down Bloodlust with this guy, and I do, but I was coming in from a province that didn't have any labs, so I didn't have Blood Slaves with me. So I'm fairly confident that I'll be able to do all right without it. I think that's probably from Strength of Giants that I'm throwing down randomly with my Dione. I'm using all of my Dione basically as big casters rather than as combat people. If they get into combat, they'll probably do fine. But for the most part, I've got a lot of Reinvig items on them. This guy's got up to Reinvigoration 12. This guy's got up to 7. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about fatigue with these guys, and I'm just throwing down a bunch of spells. One of the other things that I have done a lot of is something called Skill of Heroes, which is an AoE attack skill buff. Very good for these guys because you get 6 per square and you can cover a lot of them, and that really helps on the harassment and stuff like that. So we've caught most of his devils in the back, which was probably attack rear, and that's good for me. He doesn't have much of a bless left. I think this is just from his pretender, but he didn't take a huge bless because most of his demons can't get blessed like mine can. Unfortunately, my sort of elite troops got caught up in the front and surrounded, and there's a lot of imps getting spammed out still. So yeah, you can see that how many of these there are. But he's already started to retreat, I believe. No? Why are they in the back there? Oh, they just must be. Yeah, okay, so he's retreating. Some of them must be on stay behind troops. And this guy is another scary one too, but I could probably snipe him. I have drain life, so that's why these guys are they're on advanced cast, but not too concerned about that. Most of the devils, you can see the spine devils are vaporized here. And so he's got a big clump of regular devils in the front and the back. The back ones are basically dead right now. The front ones are being supported very, very nicely, synergistically with the imps. They're fitting a lot of people in the square, and most of my elite guys have kind of bit the bullet at this point, unfortunately. The tick bogs, they're doing all right. This guy's gonna make it a round or two more because of Undying, but he's got decent protection, massive attack skill, 2 attacks, length 0 unfortunately, so well, I was gonna say probably getting repelled, but since he's berserking, he doesn't care about that. Amena Jakus, if I can get Legions of Steel on them, which it doesn't look like I did, but if I can, then they can be pretty tanky, and they'll hold a front line pretty well. So they're sort of holding the center while the rest of my co-oni come in to reinforce, because the guys in the back have bit the bullet, and so yeah, now we're just gonna swarm them. And there's Drain Life, there's Ghost Grip, which is kind of lame, but Drain Life is really good. It's doubling to get my fatigue back as well. And interestingly enough, the gelatinous cubes have been sort of pinned in place with with the whatchamacallit, Prison of Fire. That's good for me. So yeah, now at this point, all the devils are basically gone, but and the commanders are retreating, but he is still spawning imps, which the way it works is even if you're retreating or if you're fatigued out and doing nothing, then you're going to spawn imps, and they're not actually retreating. They don't spawn as retreating, which is kind of funny. So I'm sort of like walking forward slowly, just smacking imps down along the way. And the Dione is just moving forward to advance cast, but he gets away, this guy. Some good gear that I could have gotten, and would have been nice to be rid of him finally, but unfortunately not. This ridiculous brave Shikomi. Unfortunately, Shikomi don't have the ghost form shape, so when they die, they die. And I think they also die if they get procced to undying levels because they're not undead. So yeah, shame that. So I get this guy, I get these two sages, these three sages because they were fatigued out. This guy gets away with the cover of those imps. And yeah, but as you can see, clear, decisive victory. These guys are gone, pretty gone. I only get 1, 2, this guy, a couple of them, some sages, but he's still got a pretty significant mage core. But I absolutely wipe all his devils, and he can get more of those with blood spells, but most of those were free. Spine devils, same deal. So that's a lot. That is still a lot of turns of him just sitting in his cap, building up a stockpile of them. But they were free, so it's not a huge loss. And on my side, also a lot of these were free. Horseface, Oxhead, they're both free. I don't have any of those, I guess. Coonies, I only lose 4 because they were all sort of clumped up in their mass pile in the back, and it was really hard to hit them. Most of my losses are the Shikomis because they ran forward, and the tick balls, which is unfortunate because they're not free. Those are the summons. Some of the Shikomis are free, but yeah, it's hard to say. So pretty minor losses on my end. But yeah, so that was a really good battle for me. It could have gone much better because I had planned to cut off his retreat pass. Don't care what provinces Lanka winds up taking because Abysia can't retreat into them. But most of his mages do manage to retreat into here, as you can see. The rest, I did plan to get all these out. So I hit this province with a raider, which he had earlier on. And I had been moving, I believe, from here, another raider, but she got sniped by one of Lanka's assassins. She had been planning to go on top of here, and that would have completely cut off his retreat paths. But it was not to be, so unfortunate. But there you go. That's the battle. Thank you for watching, and see you whenever next time is. Have a good one.